When was the last time you had a real conversation? Not a text, not an emoji, not a Zoom call, but a real face-to-face human conversation with someone you genuinely care about. Think about that for a moment. Right now, there is a massive wave sweeping through our culture. Younger generations are being told, loudly, repeatedly, and very persuasively, to become their own boss, to work from home, to build their empire from their bedroom, to escape the office forever. And it sounds beautiful. It sounds like freedom. But here is what nobody in that conversation is telling you. Nobody is talking about the loneliness. Nobody is talking about the physical toll. Nobody is talking about what it quietly does to your relationships, your mental health, your social skills, and your sense of self. The dream has a price, and today I'm going to talk about it honestly. Because somewhere between the laptop lifestyle and the be your own boss promises, something deeply human is being lost. And most people won't realize it until the damage is already done. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because the most important point of all is waiting for you there. Welcome to Avoiding Drama. I'm Carmen, and this is the conversation the gurus don't want you to hear. Let me start with something that might make you smile, or cringe, depending on your experience. A while back, I went on a date with a perfectly nice gentleman. He was educated, well-spoken, and not rude in any way. We had dinner at a lovely restaurant, then walked to a bar nearby. And as we were leaving, he walked straight out the door ahead of me, let it go, and it nearly hit me in the face. He didn't even notice. He wasn't being disrespectful. He wasn't inconsiderate by nature. He had simply forgotten that he wasn't alone, forgotten that there was another human being walking beside him who might also need to get through that door. He had spent so much time alone, working from home, living in his own bubble, that the basic social reflexes we develop through daily human interaction had quietly faded away. And I thought to myself, this is not about manners. This is about something much deeper. Research confirms exactly this. A fully remote or highly isolated work style can subtly undermine developmental milestones like social skills, romantic relationships, and community ties. In other words, when we stop practicing being around people, we forget how. Think about everything that used to happen naturally in an office environment. The small talk in the hallway, the collaborative problem solving, the reading of body language, the art of navigating personalities different from your own. All of that was, without us realizing it, a daily masterclass in being human. Remote work took that classroom away, and we are only now beginning to understand the cost. This is especially true for younger generations, people who entered the workforce during or after the pandemic and have never known anything different. They are building careers without building the social muscles that careers used to develop automatically, and it shows. In conversations, in dates, in friendships, in the way we navigate conflict, or fail to. Now I want to share something more personal. Something I am not ashamed of, but that took me by surprise in a way I will never forget. A few years ago, while working remotely, I had to fill out a form that asked for the phone number of a friend, just for a reference, a simple, ordinary request. And I sat there, and I realized I didn't have one. Not a single friend whose number I could confidently write down. Not because I was difficult or unlovable, but because, without an office, I had nowhere to meet people. The friendships I had before had slowly dissolved in the absence of regular in-person contact, and I had been so busy working, surviving, existing, that I hadn't noticed the silence creeping in. That moment changed something in me, and I know I am not alone. According to the Institute for Family Studies, about 34% of young adults report feeling lonely frequently, far higher than older groups. Gallup data show that globally, 20% of employees feel lonely, with younger and fully remote workers feeling it most. A major study published in the journal Science confirmed that the rapid growth of remote work since the pandemic has contributed to increased social isolation and worsening mental health among workers. And here is what makes this particularly painful. Most of us don't even realize how lonely we are until a moment forces us to face it, like being asked for a phone number we don't have. Among nearly 90,000 respondents studied, those working remotely 3 to 4 days per week had significantly higher odds of reporting loneliness than those who did not work remotely at all. The office was never just a place to work. It was a place to belong, to be seen, to matter to someone outside of your own four walls. And we gave it up, sometimes willingly, sometimes not, without fully understanding what we were trading away. Now let's talk about something even more concrete, something you can feel in your body right now if you stop and pay attention. Think about what your morning used to look like when you went to an office. You woke up with enough time to get ready. You showered, dressed, perhaps had a proper breakfast. You drove or took public transport, which itself involved walking. You parked and walked to the building. You climbed stairs. You walked long corridors. You went out at lunch, maybe to a restaurant, maybe just to get some air. You walked back. You walked to meetings. You walked back to your car at the end of the day. Without ever thinking of it as exercise, you were moving consistently every single day. Now think about what that morning looks like for millions of remote workers today. The alarm goes off 15 minutes before the workday begins. They roll out of bed, open the laptop, sometimes still in pajamas, and they are already at work. Lunch is something heated in the microwave, eaten alone in front of a screen. And the most movement they get all day is the walk from the desk to the bathroom and back. A systematic review found a 30% reduction in walking and a 34.7% decrease in total physical activity among employees working from home compared to those working on site, and a staggering 66.7% increase in sedentary behavior. Remote work promotes a more sedentary lifestyle that can contribute to blood clots, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Remote work has also been linked to poorer sleep, trouble relaxing, and mental health concerns. And perhaps most alarming of all, a 2025 systematic review confirmed a dose-response relationship between sedentary behavior and depression risk. The more people sat, the higher their likelihood of depressive symptoms, creating a vicious cycle where sitting lowers energy and mood, which makes exercise harder, which leads to worse sleep and more anxiety. We are not just losing our social lives to remote work, we are losing our physical health. Quietly, gradually, one sedentary day at a time. Now we arrive at what I believe is the most painful consequence of all. What remote work is doing to our relationships, romantic, familial, and social. But before I talk about remote workers specifically, I want to make an observation that many of you will recognize immediately. Have you ever noticed how many couples struggle deeply after retirement? After decades of loving each other, of building a life together, raising children, surviving hardships, they finally reach the moment they dreamed of: freedom. Time together. No more schedules, no more deadlines, no more rushing. And yet, for so many couples, that is precisely when the trouble begins. Suddenly, they are together, all day, every day, with nowhere to go and no natural separation. And what they discover, sometimes painfully, is that they are very different people who have always needed space they never knew they needed, because work provided it automatically. The friction builds slowly. Small irritations become big ones. Old habits that were once manageable become unbearable when multiplied by 24 hours a day. And couples who genuinely love each other find themselves, to their own shock and horror, beginning to resent each other. It is no coincidence that so many people seek at least a part-time job after retiring, not because they need the money, but because they need the space, the purpose, the separation that allows them to miss each other again. Remote work creates exactly the same dynamic, but for people who are decades younger and completely unprepared for it. When two people live together and work from home, the boundaries between partnership and cohabitation blur completely. Suddenly, your romantic partner is also your coworker, your roommate, your lunch companion, and the only human being you see for days at a time. That is too much for any one relationship to carry. We were never designed to be everything to one person, and no one person was designed to be everything to us. Couples who once looked forward to reuniting at the end of the workday, sharing stories, decompressing together, choosing to be in each other's presence, now never truly separate. There is no reunion because there was no absence. And without absence, there is very little longing. And without longing, intimacy quietly erodes. For families, the lines between work time and family time have dissolved completely. Parents who work from home report feeling constantly guilty, never fully present at work, never fully present for their children, always halfway in both worlds, fully committed to neither. And for friendships, as we discussed, remote work has made them nearly impossible to maintain organically. We have to schedule what used to happen naturally, and most of us, exhausted from staring at screens all day, simply don't have the energy. Research confirms that teleworkers experience higher levels of loneliness, greater irritability, worry, lack of confidence, and frustration compared to those who work in person. The cruel irony is this: we chose remote work in part to have more time for the people we love, and in many cases, it has left us with less connection to them than ever before. Because love needs space to breathe, and remote work, like retirement without boundaries, can slowly suffocate even the strongest relationships by removing the one thing they quietly depend on: the freedom to miss each other. Before I share the most important point of this entire video with you, if what you've heard today has made you think or feel seen, or made you want to have this conversation with someone in your life, please take a moment right now and subscribe to Avoiding Drama. Every week, I bring you real, honest conversations about life, relationships, and everything in between. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next. And now, the most important point of all. Everything I have shared with you today, the loneliness, the physical decline, the social disconnection, the relationship erosion, none of it is inevitable. Remote work is not going away. For many of us, it is our reality, and it has real benefits that we shouldn't ignore. But awareness changes everything. The man who let the door close in my face wasn't broken. He was simply unaware. The moment someone becomes aware, they can choose differently. So here is what I want to leave you with. One intentional human connection every single day. Not a text, not a like on Instagram, a real interaction. A phone call, a walk with a friend, a coffee with a colleague, a conversation that requires your full presence. Because here is the truth that all the research points to, and that my own life has taught me. We were not designed for isolation. We were designed for each other. And no amount of flexibility, productivity, or convenience is worth the slow erosion of our connection to other human beings. Remote work gave us our homes back. Now it's time to reclaim our humanity. Leave me a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, has remote work affected your relationships or your social life? I want to hear your story. Until next time, keep growing. Your future self awaits.